Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the material you send us, dig into it, and pull out the key insights, maybe even some surprising bits.
Exactly. Your curiosity guides us.
Today we're looking at a Spiritist talk. A listener sent us a YouTube link. It was from a presentation at the, let me get this right, Palestra Espírita do Grupo da Fraternidade Bezerra de Menezes.
Yep, that's the one in Curitiba from May 6th, 2025.
Right. And the goal here really is to give you the essence of it quickly, get you informed without feeling like you're drowning in information.
Because it covers quite a bit, actually. You know, reflections on God, spiritual figures, Mother's Day gets a mention, even work.
And tributes, right, to Eurípedes Barsanufo and Mother Mary, specifically within that Spiritist view.
Exactly. Lots to unpack.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The talk kicks off with this call for unity, unifying thoughts towards God, Jesus, Mary, Joseph. What's that about?
Well, it's like setting the stage, creating a shared intention. It's pretty common in these settings. The speaker then asks for solace, guidance, help.
For everyone there.
Yeah, everyone. Both incarnate us here and discarnate. Those in the spirit world. It really highlights that belief in a connection, you know, that we're not alone in whatever we're facing.
That makes sense. And there was something about yearning for the peace of Jesus, but also admitting we haven't quite well grasped it yet.
That really stood out. That mix of aspiration and human fallibility feels very honest, very relatable.
And they mentioned the spaces dedicated to Bezerra de Menezes and Eurípedes Barsanufo, calling them guiding educators.
Right. That immediately signals their importance to this group, and it sort of foreshadows the later focus on Barsanufo, sets him up as a key figure.
Okay. So shifting gears a bit, Mother's Day, it had just passed.
Yeah.
The speaker offers congratulations, standard stuff.
But then, yeah, there's a pivot, a comment that maybe just one day isn't really adequate for figures like mothers.
Interesting. Like, why limit the appreciation?
Exactly. It's a critique, maybe, of how we tend to box things up, celebrate intensely for a day, and then, well, maybe forget a bit the rest of the year.
Yeah, that tendency to compartmentalize. It makes you think.
Doesn't it? Could a more, I don't know, continuous recognition be more meaningful, integrate it more into daily life?
Good point. And they also briefly mentioned Labor Day, something about holidays being inconsistent.
Yeah, just a quick observation, almost an aside, and a little anecdote about having to work on the day.
It kind of grounds things, doesn't it? Brings the big spiritual ideas back to everyday reality.
I think so. It connects the lofty with the lived experience.
Yeah.
Makes you reflect on our routines, our holidays, what they really mean.
All right, so let's get into the tribute to Eurípedes Barsanufo. He's the patron of the institution, they said. Why is he so significant in Brazilian Spiritism?
Oh, he's huge. He founded the very first Spiritist school in Brazil. You know, Brazil is sometimes called the Pátria do Cruzeiro in Spiritism.
The homeland of the Southern Cross.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Symbolic name. So founding that first school was foundational. It wasn't just a building. It shaped how Spiritism developed in Brazil, its thinking, its social role. And the speaker emphasizes that his work, his legacy, it continues to help people who come to the center, even if they don't consciously know it. Unseen assistance, kind of.
That's a powerful idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ripples from past efforts still helping us now.
Definitely.
And this seems to lead into a discussion about healing, spiritual healing and personal transformation. They draw a direct line there.
Yes, very direct. The core idea is that healing isn't passive. It's linked, deeply linked, to our own efforts to change, to grow.
So miracles, as we might call them.
The talk suggests they often happen when people are actively working on themselves, transforming themselves, aligning with life's positive forces instead of resisting through negativity.
Right, so it's not just waiting for something external. Our own agency is key.
Precisely. Our effort matters. Now, they do mention divine mercy giving a push.
Like a helping hand.
Sort of, an impetus for progress, even if our own transformation isn't, fully there yet. But, and this is crucial, the speaker stresses that ultimately we are responsible for our own lives. That's the divine law, according to this view.
So mercy provides opportunity, maybe grace, but it doesn't remove our responsibility.
Exactly. It supports our evolution, but doesn't bypass our need to put in the work. It's a balance.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the talk also spends quite a bit of time honoring Mary, Mother of Jesus. described as, what was it, an angelical being?
Yes, and a sublime example of life. Really elevated language. And what's fascinating is the mention of her ongoing evolution.
Ongoing.
Yeah, according to what they call recent understanding in this context, she's ascended to the Christic scale.
Touristic scale. What does that imply?
It signifies a very, very high level of spiritual development, immense wisdom, compassion. But the key is, she was already highly evolved when she was Jesus's mother.
Right, they clarified that.
Yep.
Which makes her role even more profound.
And the point is made clearly. Spiritual evolution doesn't just stop. It's continuous, even for beings like her.
So no static perfection. The journey keeps going.
Exactly. She's presented not just historically, but as an active guide, a protector, leading people towards the truth Jesus taught.
And they mentioned she cares for everyone, right? Regardless of belief.
Yes, a very inclusive idea. The talk acknowledges, that different religions see Mary differently.
Sure.
But within this Spiritist view, her role in bringing Jesus into the material world is seen as incredibly significant. She's described almost like a great general.
A general. In what sense?
In spiritual efforts, upholding Jesus's teachings, coordinating spiritual assistance, rescue work, supporting those who suffer, often through these active Spiritist centers.
Wow, so a very active, ongoing role in the spiritual realm.
That's the picture painted, yes. Very dynamic.
Okay. So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like we've touched on quite a few interconnected themes. This focus on unified spiritual reflection.
Right, the importance of that shared intention.
The recognition of these key figures, Barsanufo and Mary, within their tradition.
And their ongoing influence.
And that fundamental link they draw between personal change, our own efforts, and spiritual progress. It's definitely, like we aimed for, a lot of insight without being totally overwhelming.
I think so, too. It weaves these different threads, the divine connection, historical figures, personal responsibility, into a coherent view from that Spiritist perspective.
So here's a final thought for you, our listener. This idea that even someone like Mary, seen as incredibly evolved, is still on a path of growth. What does that suggest to you about your own journey?
How does seeing evolution as continuous, even for the highest figures, maybe change how you view your own potential, your own path forward?
Something to definitely mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.